Hello, Prof. Aram here, and in this series of videos, we're going to go over the concept of discounted cash flow analysis. If you recall, in the time value of money chapter, we were only moving one cash flow around. So if you either had cash flow today and you wanted to find out its future value, in other words, we compounded that cash flow, or we received a cash flow in the future and we wanted to find its present value. So we were moving only one lump sum over time. But in finance, there are a lot of assets, real assets and financial assets, that have multiple cash flows. So we need to learn how to deal with more than one cash flow. So in this video, we are going to start by finding the future value of multiple cash flows. So let's look at an example here. You think you can deposit $4,000 at the end of each of the next 3 years in a bank account, paying 8% interest. Right now, you have $7,000 in the account. How much will you have in 3 years at the end of year 2? And how much will you have in 4 years? So your timeline is actually very simple. You have $7,000 today, you receive $4,000 at the end of each of the years. So you don't need a special skill for this one. As I mentioned in the previous chapter, when you learn time value of money, you can apply the same principles in any other situation. So in this case, all you need to do when you want to find out the future value of this account, you need to find the future value of the first $7,000, the future value of the $4,000 you receive at the end of year 1, and then the future value of the $4,000 you receive in year 2. But keep in mind, this one is already a future value in year 3. So we don't have to do anything for that. The last $4,000 that you receive has no chance of earning interest because you receive it at the end of the period. But the other 3, they have an opportunity to earn interest or compound their interest for 3, 2, and 1 year. So for this one, you will have 7,000, 8%. So 7,000 times 1.08 raised to the power of 2. For the next one, you will have 4,000 times 1.08 to the power of 2. And then for the next one, so you will have 4,000 times 1.08 raised to the power of 1 because you only have 1 year. This one only earns interest for 1 year. And then all you have to do is just find their future values, add them together, plus 4,000. That would be the value of the account in 3 years. And then if you want to find the value in 4 years, you just multiply whatever you find here as the result by 1.08. So let's look at it. Let's calculate this in the financial calculator. So first we have $7,000 today, and then you compound it for 3 years at a rate of 8%, and then you compute the future value. Right? So I'm going to save this for later. And then we do 4,000 for 2 years and compute the future value, store it. And then for 1 year, compute the future value and store it here. Now we can recall these numbers. The future value of the first one plus the future value of the second and future value of the third plus the 4,000 you receive here at the end of the period, you will have $21,803.58. So this is the value at the end of year 2, or in year 3. If you want to know what the value is in 4 years, you just multiply this by 1 plus the interest rate, or you multiply it by your future value factor, and that gives you 20,547. Now we can do this in Excel as well. So these are the cash flows that you have. So all you need to do is just find the future value for each of them. So your rate is 8%. Your number of periods, you compound this for 3 years. No payment. And the present value is going to be 7,000. You do the same thing for the next one. Rate is 8%. Number of periods for the second cash flow, it's going to compound for 2 years. No payment. And then the present value would be 4,000. Then we have %8 for rate. Number of periods for this one, it only compounds for 1 year. No payment. And the present value is going to be 4,000. For the last one, basically, it's going to be 4,000. So it's the future value of 4,000, but the number of periods would be 0. I just wanted to, we know it's 4,000, I just wanted to calculate it. And then 4,000. So you'll have the 4,000. Value in year 3 would be the sum of all 4 future values. And then if you want to calculate this for year 4, you just do this. Select that and then multiply that by 1 plus the rate. You'll get the value in year 4. So all you're doing, you're just finding the future value of each of the cash flows that you have and then just add them together. Let's look at another example. Suppose you invest $500 in a mutual fund today and $600 in 1 year. If it pays 9% annually, how much will you have in 2 years? So again, all you're doing is finding the future value of this first cash flow, which is 500, times the future value factor raised to the power of 2, and then 600 times raised to the power of 1. And then all you're doing is to add them up to find how much is the future value. Okay. And another example, let's say, how much will you have in 5 years? Again, all you're doing now, you're going to do 500, 1.5, and then for the next one, you'll do 600 raised to the power of 4, and then you add them. So it's actually very simple. All you're doing is finding the future value of individual cash flows and then sum them up. Another example, suppose you plan to deposit $100 in an account in 1 year and $300 in the account in 3 years. How much will you have at the end of year 4 or in year 5? Again, you compound this. So this one is going to be compounded for 4 years, and this one will be compounded for 2 years. And then you add the future values. I hope you find this useful, and thanks for watching.